Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or whatever it is in the part of the world you are, or the part of the day you are in. Week 13 is perhaps my least predictable choice so far. Week 12 was the Beatles, my most predictable choice. Week 13, my least predictable. I've gone for an R&B artist. I've gone for a pop star. I've gone for Beyonce, of course. Beyonce comes from Texas. She was born in Texas in '81, so she's nearly 40 now. Doesn't look it, does she? Um, a black father, but much is made of Beyonce. She's a strong advocate of black rights. But interestingly, her mother was actually of a more mixed heritage. Her mother came from Louisiana near New Orleans and was from the Creole. So a bit of French blood in Beyonce, in fact. Her mother is perhaps where she got most of her talent from. Her mother had been a singer herself, famously Beyonce's sister is also a successful singer in her own right. She has also had #1 albums in America. Solange, of course, is who I'm talking of. Beyonce won talent shows, aged as young as #7. Age 8, she'd already joined a group and from age 9, she joined a stage school and became a soloist in the church choir. Some of her early life parallels the early life of another great black American singer, Aretha. In her teens, she joined a girls' group alongside her friend Kelly Rowland, a girls' group called Girls' Time. Girls' Time appeared in a national talent show. They didn't win, but they did well enough to encourage Beyonce's father, Matthew Knowles, to give up a job in sales management and commit to managing the group full time. And its Girls' Time eventually evolved into the adult group Destiny's Child. Matthew remained Beyonce's manager and Destiny's Child's manager until she sacked him in 2011, which coincidentally was around about the time Beyonce's mother was divorcing Matthew for infidelity. The first Destiny's Child album came out in '98 and, for a new group, did very well. Went top 5 both sides of the Atlantic. The next album did even better. Sold 8 million copies, and it's the second album which yielded the first big hits, Bills, 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 and Say My Name. Then they did a song for a film soundtrack. They did Independent Women, #1 from the Charlie's Angels soundtrack, #1 for 11 weeks in the USA. The third album sold over 500,000 in its first week and threw up Bootylicious and Survivor, both of which were #1. So how should Destiny's Child consolidate on this vast success? They decided to break up and go on hiatus and work on solo albums. She got a little bit of time. Beyonce then took a little bit of time to get into her stride. She did a bit of acting. She did a few guest performances. She guested on the album of a rap artist called Jay-Z. Jay-Z, of course, famously later on became Beyonce's husband. Later in the year, that's the year when she first started singing with him, she started singing 98 Problems and a Bitch Ain't One. You can criticise his turn of phrase, but you can't argue with the sentiment. Beyonce's own debut solo album came out in 2003, and was a #1 in America and included 2 US #1s, Baby Boy, but most famously Crazy in Love. Crazy in Love has been voted both by VH1, late lamented VH1, a TV video channel, and VNMA both proclaimed it the best track of the decade. Crazy in Love sold 8 million. So she's at the top of the game. She's just released one of the 2 best songs she will ever release. How should she consolidate? Well, of course, they reconvened Destiny's Child. But not for long. The next Destiny's Child album wasn't quite as successful as earlier ones. So, by 2006, Beyonce had her second solo album. Another US #1 single, Irreplaceable. You Must Not Know About Me. That's the one. And I won't attempt to sing any more for you, I promise. She's still only 25. 2008 was the year she finally did do the deed with Jay-Z and get married, and released her 3rd album, I Am Sasha Fierce, perhaps her version of Slim Shady, I don't know. Sasha Fierce was Beyonce's alter ego. I wonder what Beyonce's really like. She doesn't do all that many interviews. She's got this public image to die for. Can she really be that nice? Anyway, she explored her darker side, which wasn't all that dark, in the album I Am Sasha Fierce. And reviews weren't great, but it did give us one of her other big songs, Single Ladies, Put a Ring on It, a feminist anthem. Next album, she went for the simplest possible titles. What should she call her 4th album? How about calling it 4? What should she call her 5th album? She called it Beyonce. That probably would have been a better name for her 1st album, Beyonce. But Beyonce did have her other great track. This time she wasn't crazy in love, she was drunk in love. And the song is absolutely brilliant, and even better is a video. Check it out on YouTube, the sultry video on YouTube, Musical Viagra. But her best album of all was dropped without warning in 2016, Lemonade. It became the world's best-selling album of that year. And in the meantime, she became the only solo act in US chart history to debut at #1 with her first 6 studio albums. 3 of them had been #1 in the UK too. Why was Lemonade a bit better? It was perhaps a bit more varied. No absolute standout tracks really, but as an album it just works better. It's very much a complete album rather than just a few great songs and fillers. It perhaps gets its special edge because she explores the marital problems she was having with Jay-Z, the fairy tale marriage. Well, it wasn't breaking down because they're still together, but it was going through problems. In particular, we wondered who Becky with the good hair was, that Beyonce dissed a little bit in the album. Anyway, that's about it. Beyonce has sold over 100 million records. As a solo artist, a further 60 million records with Destiny's Child. I'm not even sure that makes her the biggest selling artist in her family. Jay-Z's done nearly as well. 5 #1 singles in the US on her own, 4 with Destiny's Child. In the UK, it's a mere 3 times with solo songs and twice with Destiny's Child. Surprisingly though, she's not been in the top 10 singles chart of UK since Drunk in Love, and even that great song though it was, only made number 9. One thing that I've seen Beyonce live. She can sing live. She's a brilliant dancer. She's a great singer. She purports to write much of her own material. She has a writing credit on all her songs, but she's one of these who the list of writing credits extends for quite a long time. So what proportion of the songs she writes, I'm never certain. But she does take a hand. She doesn't just sing other people's songs entirely. She does contribute to the song. So that's a tick in my book too. It's not my genre of music, R&B and pop, but she is the absolute top of that genre, so I make an exception for Beyonce, and she is the second most beautiful woman in the world. See you next week. Bye!